Dawson had always believed that kindness was a strength, not a weakness. Growing up in a small town with a single mother who worked 2 jobs, she learned early on that even the smallest acts of compassion could make a world of difference. She had seen her mother share meals with struggling neighbors and had spent her childhood helping stray animals find shelter in their garage during the harsh winters. Emily's mother, Linda Dawson, had been the heart and soul of their small home. A single parent working tirelessly as both a hospital receptionist and an evening janitor at the local library, Linda still managed to put others before herself, despite the hardships they faced: late bill notices, empty cupboards, and cold winter nights without proper heating. Linda never lost her warmth. She would scrape together whatever food they had to share with a neighbor down the hall, an elderly widow who had no family left to visit her. Emily learned by watching. She saw how kindness wasn't about grand gestures, but about the small, everyday moments. Offering a warm coat to someone in need, listening when no one else would, sharing a meal even when you had little to give. Despite their struggles, Emily grew up with dreams of making a difference. She loved animals and often fantasized about becoming a veterinarian. But with limited financial support, college seemed like an impossible dream. So she did what she could. She worked hard, saved every penny, and never stopped believing in the power of good deeds. The dog, whom Emily would later name Charlie, had once been someone's pet. He had a home, a warm bed, and a little girl who used to sneak in pieces of toast under the breakfast table. He had been loved once, but one day his family packed up and left, moving to a different state. The house went dark and no one returned for him. He had waited on the porch for days, his paws cold against the wooden planks, his stomach growling. Eventually, hunger and instinct forced him to wander. The streets were unforgiving. He learned quickly that not all humans were kind. Some threw rocks to scare him away. Others chased him with broomsticks. Finding food was a daily battle, and shelter was wherever he could squeeze himself in for warmth. Under a dumpster, in the hollow of an old tree, beneath a rusted-out car. He had scars from fights with other strays, and his fur was matted with dirt and dried blood. But he survived. Then he found the diner. He had learned to recognize the scent of food and the sound of doors swinging open, signaling the possibility of leftovers. For weeks, he lingered near the neon glow of Mason's diner, watching, waiting. He had seen the girl with kind eyes before, the one who sometimes glanced his way with a look that wasn't disgust, but something softer. That night, the wind was brutal, cutting through his thin coat like a blade. He had nearly given up when the door opened, and she came outside. When she placed the food down, his instinct screamed at him to run. This was a trap, surely. But her voice, gentle and warm, kept him frozen in place. "It's okay, buddy," she whispered. "You're safe." For the first time in months, Charlie dared to believe it. Mason's diner had been a staple in the town for over 2 decades. It was the kind of place that smelled of fresh coffee, buttered toast, and old vinyl seats. The walls were lined with framed photos of better times. Smiling customers, newspaper clippings about the diner's grand opening, and black and white snapshots of the town when it still had charm. But beneath its nostalgic facade, the diner was a place of strict rules and tough management. Mr. Mason, the owner, was a businessman first and foremost. He had built his diner from the ground up, and expected nothing less than absolute obedience from his employees. Emily had worked there for 2 years. She knew the rules by heart. No freebies, no wasting food, no personal business on the clock. But she also knew that sometimes rules had to be broken. That night, as she fed the starving dog, she had barely registered the sound of the door swinging open behind her. "Emily, what the hell do you think you're doing?" Mr. Mason's voice cut through the rain like a whip. "It was just some leftovers," Emily said, trying to stay calm. "He's starving, Mr. Mason. I couldn't just..." "That food isn't yours to give away," he snapped. "We're running a business here, not a charity. You don't get to decide where the food goes." Emily's jaw clenched. It was going to be thrown out. "Doesn't matter. If you can't follow the rules, you can find yourself another job. You're fired." The words felt like a slap. The customers inside had gone silent, watching the exchange unfold. The hungry stray dog had finished his food, but now stood beside her as if sensing her distress. "You're serious?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Dead serious. Hand over your apron and get out." Emily swallowed the lump in her throat. With shaking fingers, she untied her apron, folded it neatly, and placed it on the counter. She turned once more to the stray, her heart breaking for him, for herself. She had done the right thing, and yet she had lost everything. As she stepped into the rain, feeling the chill seep through her clothes, she didn't notice the man sitting by the window. An older gentleman who had been quietly observing the entire interaction. His name was James Holloway, and he was a journalist. A journalist who, within the hour, would write a social media post detailing how a kind-hearted waitress had been fired for feeding a starving dog. The internet took care of the rest. The next morning, Emily woke up to find her phone buzzing incessantly. Missed calls, unread messages, and a flood of notifications. She clicked on the first message. It was from a stranger. "You did the right thing. I run a shelter. If you ever need anything, we're here for you." Another message. "Saw the story about you. The world needs more people like you. How can I help?" Then the doorbell rang. Emily, still in her pajamas, stumbled to the door. A postman stood there, holding a large bundle of letters. "Emily Dawson?" he asked. "Yes." "These are for you." She blinked. "What?" "More are on the way." Within days, over 25,000 letters arrived at the diner and at Emily's home. Letters from people around the country, filled with words of encouragement, job offers, even donations. Mr. Mason tried to do the damage control. He called Emily, offering her job back, even promising a raise. But it was too late. She had already accepted an offer from a new cafe, one that believed in kindness over corporate greed. And the hungry stray dog? He had a home now. Emily named him Charlie, and for the first time in his life, he was warm, safe, and loved.